I destroyed an arrogant 2000s rated teenager in my tournament. Why do I say he was arrogant? The way he was moving his pieces really rubbed me off the wrong way. He was moving his pieces like bam, like making a face and borderline slamming them on the board and slamming the clock. I mean, I can appreciate the enthusiasm here, but come on, this is a little bit over the top. I wanted to take an opposite approach because I knew he was trying to make a psychological effect on me. I wanted to just take it chill, slow, focus on the board, and wipe him off, or at least give him a fight. I had the white pieces here. I start with e4, and he responds with c6. Against the Caro-Kann, I play the two knights attack, where I bring out my knights. Takes, I take back, and knight f6, queen e2. Takes, queen takes. The knight comes out to target my queen. I ignore this because I have this move knight e5, allowing the knight to take my queen. Because if he does, this here is checkmate. My opponent, being 2000 rated, sees that and goes for e6 instead. So I move the queen back, b5 attacks the bishop, so I back up my bishop, and then we play normal developing moves here. I play c3 to give my bishop an escape square, otherwise he'll play a4 and trap my bishop. I play bishop f4 here, adding a defender to this knight. Castles, I bring in my rook, another support for that knight. Knight comes in, I take it off because this bishop was relatively weak, that knight was relatively strong. I'm okay with giving him the bishop pair because this bishop here is pretty weak, and I like the remainder of my pieces. Now I bring in my queen. Now I'm starting to look at potential ideas where I take this pawn, and the pawn cannot take back, it's pinned. So black really has to do something to address it. He goes here to attack my queen, and I drop it back, still keeping that threat alive. Now the king moves, and I go here. Takes, knight takes, rook to a7. I move queen f3, bishop a6. This allowed me to play the move knight to e6, which is a fork, and black cannot take because I would take the rook. Unfortunately, I didn't see that move, so instead I made the move knight to d3. So we have queen d6, rook e3, trying to bring in my rooks into play. Rook there to attack it, I back it up, takes, pawn to g6, and I bring in my knight to e5, get it closer to the king side. Pawn to f6, and I bring down my knight back. Bishop c8, queen e2, rook f7, knight c5. This knight is on a great square, it's an outpost, it's hard to kick it away. Bishop f5, now I infiltrate with rook e8. My idea is quite simple, slide the rook away, move in the queen, and give a checkmate over here. Queen f4, getting a little bit closer to my king. Rook a8, pawn to g5. Now if I continue with my plan and play queen e8 with the idea to come here or here, black has a perpetual where they go check, king here, check, there, and back and forth, and if I ever push this pawn to block the check, the queen would take here, and then with check, and I would go down here, check, up, check, and it would just end in a repetition. So to prevent that, I make the move g4, and one of the strongest players of the tournament afterwards complimented me on this move, saying this was really good at shutting out the game. The bishop moves, and I infiltrate, and attacks the rook, and there's a checkmate threat. Black tries to protect both threats, but in doing so, this pins the rook to the king. So I play rook to a7, and then black resigns.